Am I the jerk for ignoring my friend's phone calls after she invited herself, her spouse, her children, and her friends to my home for an impromptu BBQ without my permission? My friend is having a hard time with her spouse and needs someone to be there for her while they work through their issues. We recently reconnected after not speaking for 4 years. Now, every time she calls, she asks me what I am doing for the day or at that moment, and then invites herself, her family of 4, and some of her friends over to my house. Friday was her spouse's birthday. Monday, she told me her plan was to take him to dinner. Then she called me Friday morning, asking me what I was doing. I told her I was just watching a movie on my couch. Then she said, I know it's last minute, but I want to come over and have a barbecue at your house. She said the kids could play together and we could hang out and have some drinks. I hesitated initially and then told her that I did not really have a lot of meat here, nor was my home company ready. She responded that she would grab some more food and do all of the cooking. Then I said okay. I cleaned up a little bit and then received a second call from her. She excitedly told me that she invited her male friend and he might bring a friend for me to talk to. A female friend of hers was also coming. I was so shocked that she was trying to throw a party, not just come over and hang out with her family like she implied during the first call. Her family already was 4 people, which would have made a total of 8 people including my own children. I have only met 2 of the 3 people she invited. She did not even ask if she could invite anyone else to my home or give out my address. Luckily, I got a call on the other line and told her I would call back. 2 hours passed by, and she called me repeatedly. I decided to text her that something came up and I could not host a party for her husband. I did not receive a response. I waited another 2 hours and then called her to see how the barbecue party was going. She told me she did not even have the barbecue party. I asked her why she did not ask her friends to come to her apartment since she has her own barbecue grill, and why she did not at least go out to dinner like she planned originally. She literally did not even answer the first question, but said she did not want to spend a lot of money going out to eat. Am I the asshole for making up an excuse to end the call and then ignoring all of her repeated calls to confirm? Your actions were justified. This so-called friend sounds like a parasite, using your place as if it's a public venue. There's a reason you didn't speak for 4 years, and it's worth reconsidering if this friendship is worth keeping. Just say, sorry, that will not be possible, and go back to no communication. Am I the jerk for asking my parents to flush the toilet? I currently live with my parents, both in their 60s. I pay rent and plan to move out in less than a year when my sister moves out of her current place. Although I pay rent, it is way below market value, and I make up for it by cooking and cleaning. I grocery shop for my parents, put out the garbage bins every Thursday, take out the garbage and recycling when needed, vacuum, perform general cleaning, and do 75% of the homemade cooking. Pretty much the only place I don't clean is my parents' bathroom. I never use it, and I'm only in there when a parent is in there, and I need to talk to them. I notice that their toilet is almost never flushed and looks filthy. Not because I use it, but because it's just there. This is a behavior I've only noticed in the past couple of months. We have 2 bathrooms in the house, and the bathroom I use is the hall bathroom. It's obviously smaller, and when guests come over, they use it too. I keep it clean for when guests come over, and that includes cleaning the toilet. I've recently noticed that when my parents use the hall bathroom toilet, understandable, because it's in the middle of the house and their toilet is across the house, they don't flush. I've noticed that when they don't flush for a long time, a dark ring begins to form around the toilet, and I'm the one who has to clean it. Because of that, and because it's the toilet guests use when they come over, my parents have frequent guests, I've asked if they could flush the toilet in this specific bathroom. I've listed all the above reasons why, and they get pretty mad because it's their house and they can do what they want. I told them I understand, but I'm the one that cleans that bathroom and would like to keep it as clean as possible. I recently went on a week-long vacation out of town, and when I returned, there was a dark ring in the toilet like they hadn't flushed for a whole week. I decided to just not clean it because I didn't make the ring in the toilet. They continued to not flush and I didn't say anything. Soon my mother complained about how the hall bathroom toilet was filthy, and I told her it was probably because they're not flushing in there anymore. She got mad and said that wasn't it, but later in the day, I noticed the ring was gone as if she had cleaned it. A couple of hours later, I heard my father go in there and come out without flushing. I asked him if he had flushed the toilet and he said, I don't know, did I? I responded that I didn't hear him flush, so that's why I asked. Later I went in and, no, he hadn't. So I flushed it myself and again, my parents got mad. Either I'm overreacting to what my parents do in their own home, or my parents are genuinely being disgusting. I am genuinely asking here, am I the asshole? I think you are not in the wrong here at all. It's understandable to want to conserve water, but letting it get to the point of creating a nasty ring is just unsanitary. Growing up with parents who were the worst about flushing, it's clear that breaking this habit can be tough. Good luck though, as this is probably a long-standing issue. Am I the jerk for confronting my partner about wanting me to schedule work off at a different time? For some context, I was recently unemployed and searching for a job for about 2 months. During this period, I was at home and did all of the chores and housework. However, I finally got employed again and had my first week of work. I mentioned to my husband that I would ask for Tuesdays and Wednesdays off because those are the days he has off along with Sunday. I came home Wednesday night and we showered together like normal. While in the shower, he said, "I want to ask you something, but I don't want you to get mad or sad." I told him to just tell me, but there was no guarantee as I was on my period and more emotional than usual. He told me that he didn't want me to take the same days off as him and would prefer that I only took Tuesday or Wednesday off. I told him it was fine because I understood him also wanting alone time, and that was the honest truth. About 10 minutes later, however, I remembered that I don't have the weekends off, which leaves just one day while we are together. Our work schedules are also a bit different, so when he comes home, I'm usually sleeping and vice versa. I decided not to bottle up my feelings and told him about how it hurt that he only wanted to spend one day together. I also said that I understood that we've been around each other a lot, but it also stung that he asked that in the first week I went back to work. He told me it was whatever, and that I could schedule off the same days as him if I wanted. I told him that it felt like I was begging for his attention and him to be around me. I also mentioned how he knows my love language is quality time, and I started to cry. Whenever we are together, he usually spends most of the time gaming by himself. He told me that he did want to be around me. He was silent for a long moment, and I asked him what was wrong. He told me that he was really upset that I was telling him all this because I had attitude all week and was mean. I apologized and asked him to tell me when I was being mean or had attitude because I am on my period and can't tell. He agreed to do so. The discussion ended there, and I still feel sad over him wanting me to only schedule one full day with him. I think this is partially because most people have at least 2 days together, and it's not fulfilling my quality time needs. But I also feel bad for making him feel bad. Am I the asshole? You are not in the wrong here. Trying to communicate feelings is crucial in any relationship. It's strange that he prefers only one day together when he already has plenty of alone time due to your opposing schedules. Spending just one day a week together hardly seems fair, especially since most couples have at least 2 days. Be cautious about letting him dictate the reality of the situation. Relationships should be about mutual understanding and compromise, not just one person's needs. Am I the jerk for keeping my roommate for college despite my parents' wishes? I am an 18-year-old female starting college this fall. Earlier this summer, I filled out my housing application and waited to hear who my roommate might be and what hall I would live in. Earlier in the school year, a good friend of mine, an 18-year-old male, suggested that we should apply to be roommates. He is a very gay man, and I am a very gay woman. I thought it would be a fun idea, but we missed the deadline for roommate selection, so we just got thrown into the random pool. In mid-July, I received a call from my mother letting me know that housing assignments were released a few days early. I checked my account and, coincidentally, my roommate is my friend. I did not tell my mother right at that moment because I knew she would likely freak out when she heard the news. A few days later, I told her, and she was not happy. She said that there is something wrong with me if I am comfortable sleeping in the same room as a man. She said that I do not actually know him and that I should not be okay undressing in the same room as him. We have communal bathrooms, so that is not a problem. She said I have to submit a room change form as soon as the form is released. A few weeks prior, I had a conversation with my parents about being 18, and they affirmed that I am technically an adult and should make my own decisions. I brought this up, and she said fine, but I had to tell my father myself. About a week later, I told my father, and all he said was that as long as my grades are good, he does not care. About a week after that, my parents simultaneously blew up, degrading both me and my friend, and telling me that I do not care about them. My mother said that if I keep my roommate, she will not be able to sleep peacefully at night, and heart problems will appear. She said that it would be a clear indication of whether I care about my parents. I had a long list of reasons why I should keep my roommate as well as my room. These included close proximity to classes and a preference for the residence hall. The only downside she could identify was my roommate being a boy. I was expecting her to at least acknowledge the pros I gave her, but that was not the case. The next morning, I received an email from an administrator in housing explaining that she had a couple of questions for me. I called the number she left and found out that my mother called numerous administrators as well as other staff to try and get me moved to a different room or get my roommate placed elsewhere. I was upset about this, as my mother has a long history of going behind my back and doing things her way, but I told the administrator that I wanted to keep my room. She said that she would put it on my file to only contact me, as my school prefers to speak to students about student issues. My parents really locked down on the decision being indicative of how much I care about their feelings. Should I have caved and changed rooms? Your mom is definitely using emotional blackmail to manipulate you, which is totally unfair. You're 18 and perfectly capable of making your own decisions about who you live with. It's normal for parents to worry, but their assumptions are pretty unfounded. At the end of the day, you're an adult, and you've made an adult decision. Stand by it. Am I the jerk for considering pressing charges? I'll try to make this as short as possible. About a year ago, I entered a casual relationship with someone younger than myself. We never dated but did spend a lot of time together. I was clear about him not coming to my home as I was divorced and had children and did not want anyone around that I was not serious about. After about 6 or 7 months, I allowed him into my house on nights my children were with their father, maybe twice a week. He never had access to my house alone, and I never left him there for any reason. Even if we were grabbing food or drinks, he always came with me. Around late January, things were a little rocky. We had some arguments, and he was drinking more. I came to learn that his behavior was due to violating probation and having to go to jail until his case came up. We spoke while he was in jail, mostly text messaging with some phone calls. He was there until mid-April and was then placed on a new probation. We saw each other after he got out of jail, but very infrequently. He was not spending the night. We were spending time together where we were not even physical, just hanging out or grabbing a bite to eat or seeing a movie. In the last month, I realized that my wedding and engagement rings were missing from my home. I confronted him about this and he denied it, pointing out that he was never in my home without me. So I thought maybe I misplaced them or hid them somewhere else. I contacted my homeowner's insurance and mentioned to him that I would have to file a police report to make a claim and that his name might come up as a person who had been in my home. I started calling pawn shops and his name was showing up at every one. I confronted him, and he admitted to taking them but would not tell me which pawn shop, making me think he used them for something else, maybe to pay off a debt or drugs, although I never knew him to use drugs. Obviously, he was panicking and swore he would pay for them. We made about 5 or 6 meetups to do so, but he would not show or call. I filed a police report but have not pressed charges. I was hoping we could settle it ourselves, but it does not seem like it is going to happen. If I press charges, he will get a violation, which is a mandatory year, as well as catch a new charge. I do not want to ruin someone's life, but I do not feel like it is my responsibility to take the hit for him taking something irreplaceable. If it was an iPad or electronics, then I could just replace it and move on. This whole situation has been going on for a month now, and it is affecting my mental health, my sleep, and my everyday. So am I the asshole for potentially sending someone to prison? He is not someone I will ever spend time with or continue a relationship with, but I still feel guilty. You are not the one at fault. He stole goods from your home and has a history of doing things that land him in jail. You are the victim of a crime, and victims are not responsible for criminal behavior. Press charges. Actions have consequences, and maybe being locked up will finally give him a clue. Am I the jerk for asking my parents to stop telling people I am in the hospital? Hi all. I am a 25-year-old female currently pregnant, and have been admitted to the hospital a few days ago for a suspected clot in my lung following severe chest pain. I am still in the hospital right now. A few weeks ago, my wonderful maternal grandfather passed away from cancer, and we are still upset as a family. 2.5 years ago, I was in a car accident. I broke my back in 3 places, my pelvis, and 3 ribs. It was during COVID, so I was admitted to the hospital and had loads of scans all through the day and night. Once they figured out that I didn't need corrective surgery, they discharged me the following morning with morphine tablets and a wheelchair. I came out of the hospital to around 100 messages from people I barely knew wishing me well. My mom and stepdad had posted pictures of my wrecked car on Facebook and told everyone they knew about the accident and specifics about my injuries. At the time, I asked them to take down the posts as I did not want people knowing all about my personal life. They never took the posts down. Today, my friend told me that my mom has been sending messages into group chats, telling people that I am pregnant and in the hospital. My stepdad told his family the same. I told them that my husband and I want to share the news ourselves. I told them that I was so hurt and disappointed that they have told people and also lied to me about it. I pointed out the lie and told them that I had again received messages from others proving that they lied. My mom then sent me a voice note of her crying saying, "Sorry, I don't know what I have done, but I am sorry. I must be the worst mother in the world. I am just so upset about Papa too." It was hard to hear her so upset, but I just reiterated that asking for privacy was not too much to ask. My stepdad, who I have been very close to, also sent me a voice note telling me that they don't need this stress and to stop being so hateful over something so trivial. He told me that I was clearly hormonal, but that he'll let it slide this time because I am pregnant. He told me that my mom has cried for over 30 minutes and it's all my fault and that it's all over nothing. Also, that they told other people because they are worried about me. He said they will never apologize as they haven't done anything wrong. He also said that I am the daughter he never had, and that he loves me but that he is so disappointed in my behavior. The original message that I sent to my mom, "Sorry, it's just I've had messages from people today wishing me well in the hospital, so I know you lied about who you have told about me being here. I am just hurt and disappointed as I would have much preferred privacy. I don't feel like sharing anymore because I don't know who you are both sharing it with, and it has actually made me being in the hospital much more stressful. I might be the asshole because we are all grieving and emotions are running high. I also don't feel like they told other people in a malicious way, just thoughtless. So, am I the asshole? You are not the bad guy in this situation. They are now on an information diet. They get told nothing until you are ready to share with the world. How can they possibly believe their stress of you being upset with them could possibly compare to the actual stress you're under? It sounds like your parents, especially your mom, have a gossiping problem. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.